Today we're going to do a camera comparison between the iPhone 16 Pro versus the Xiaomi 15 Ultra. Now let's start off with portrait mode. One thing to notice about Xiaomi's colors is it's very contrasty, so most of the time you'll see the blacks to be darker and the highlights to be a bit more brighter. For the zoom options on the iPhone you get 1x, 2x, and 5x, but on the Xiaomi you get one more, whereas 1x, 2x, 3x, and 4.3x. Now when I'm shooting against the sun on a Xiaomi, it brings up the human subject, so they are more exposed, whereas on an iPhone it is darker. And I noticed that when I zoomed in on the iPhone, the colors did change a little bit, especially when I zoomed all the way in at 5x. It really casted a bluish hue to the picture. When you're shooting with the Xiaomi, you get two color profiles, the Leica Authentic and Leica Vibrant. For this comparison, I'm only shooting with the Leica Authentic. And what I noticed between the two from the past, the Authentic color profile is more contrastier and it does have a nice vignette look to it, so the image coming out right away from it has this really darker, photogenic, moody look to it. And the Leica Vibrant color profile gives you more of a punchier look, so closer to a lot of other phones out there. And I feel like with the colors and exposure on these phones, the regular consumer will probably lean towards the iPhone because they are pretty safe and everything is more exposed. It's a picture that they want to see. For the Xiaomi Ultra line, obviously it's for the photographers, so there will be certain things like the shadows where it can be darker, and they might like that because it seems more realistic. And also the bigger sensors on the main camera and the telephoto, where normal consumers probably won't be able to tell, but for the photographers, they know about background blur and they probably like the more creamier, denser bokeh. So the hardware from the Xiaomi 15 Ultra is just more appealing to the photographer or people who are more savvy on the photographic side. Because when you're taking landscapes or things that are far away, then the pictures do look very similar to each other. It's just when you're taking pictures of things when it's closer to you or things like you're holding in your hand, then you start to notice more of the denser natural background blur on the Xiaomi. But for most users out there or for the regular consumers, they probably don't know about this or don't understand it. So for the most part, they would lean towards getting the iPhone anyways. Then they would have to deal with learning about the lower f-stop or aperture and how narrow things are in focus, which can end up of them thinking about why their photos are not focused, but it actually are. It's just that this certain area is. So it's just more added complications for them, and for the regular consumer, it's just more safer for them to pick the iPhone. But one thing that's pretty obvious about these phones is that the telephoto on the Xiaomi is just a lot better. You can zoom way more because on the iPhone it's 25x max zoom and on a Xiaomi it's 120x, but obviously with any max zoom it's not going to look the best. But even at 30x on a Xiaomi, it looks pretty decent. Now moving on to low light, again it's more contrasty on a Xiaomi, so the blacks or the darker areas are just darker. That doesn't mean the quality is bad, it just gives you more of a moodier look, and I do like how it is very aesthetic on the Xiaomi pictures. And another thing I noticed is that the sky is also more bluer on an iPhone, but on a Xiaomi, it is just dark. So basically, iPhone is more of a safer choice where everything is exposed. So when you show your friends, it just looks good and they can see everything. But on a Xiaomi, it already looks like it's edited and it has a photogenic look to it. Now moving on to video, as you can tell on the iPhone, the stabilization is not the best. You can see it shaking a lot more. It is a bit brighter and I still feel like the iPhone can handle more of the exposure of the highlights better. And then for the main camera, which gives you the best quality, the shadows are a bit darker on a Xiaomi, but I feel like it's more punchier and it has more of a pop to it, but it's not really noticeable between the two. And same for the telephoto, a bit more contrast there, a bit more punchier. The highlights can be a bit too bright, but since the Xiaomi does have the bigger sensor, it's just gonna give you a cleaner look. Now moving on to daytime, it's more noticeable here, but the iPhone does have a more ultra wide look. So overall, it will give you more of the epic feel to it, and the stabilization seems to do a lot better during daytime. Now moving on to the wide camera, everything seems to be evenly exposed on iPhone, like the shadows are more brighter and highlights are just not overexposed. On a Xiaomi, it has a more slightly contrasty look, and for highlights, it's just a bit too bright for me, but it still looks pretty natural. And for the telephoto, they both look pretty good on both phones, and I feel like besides the brightness, everything like the colors and quality looks very similar. So that is a comparison between these two phones. For me, I do like the Xiaomi 15 Ultra or just the Ultra line in general, and I do like the Leica Authentic look, which gives you that photogenic aesthetic look to your pictures. So let me know what you think about these two phones. Thanks for watching and I'll see you guys later.